Hello and welcome to another episode brought to you by Premier Sport. This is URC Unloaded, and as you can see or hear, it's just myself and big Stevie Ferris today. One of our thruple has let us down again. We feel like single parents, Stevie, don't we?
Oh, Shanks, he is unbelievable. It's just the last minute. Like, we try hard to put the show together. You know, we're speaking with Ben and Gavin, who produce most of this, and he's just always letting us down, mate. Always letting us down. I bet you. Do you reckon he's still on the golf course while we're recording this pod?
Do you know what really annoys me about? We're obviously talking, listeners and viewers, about John Barclay. It's the words he uses, like "should be okay," "hopefully be okay." He just throws these words around willy-nilly, and you know, deep down inside, he's not going to do it. I'd rather him just come out and said, lads, last minute, I know I'm struggling to join you on URC Unloaded this week. Really sorry. Instead, he says, I'll do my best. And you just know his best is F all.
Yeah, but you know, when he comes on next week, it'll be, oh, lads, like, I just had a work meeting that sprung out of nowhere, and, like, you know, we were entertaining guests from China who were, you know, going to spend a fortune with my whiskey company, or was going to do this. That's just nonsense, Shanks. It's nonsense. No, he needs to take accountability.
100%. Like, how's he got a proper job? It's
no
beyond me. He can't even diary manage himself. So anyway, right, I think that's the rant of the week done straight away. The positives of this week, before we get into the rugby, well, there's one positive from me, Stevie. I shot 72 today, gross, around a golf course. That was par 70, so 2 over. One of the best rounds I've had.
Lovely. Can you give the course a shout out, or the pitch and putt course?
Yeah, it's my local course. It's Glamorganshire Golf Course, which is where Stapleford actually was created.
Oh, there's a little clip for golfing fans.
Yeah. So went around there this morning. Had an eagle, which obviously helps.
Very much so.
And then a couple of dodgy ones. But the worst thing was, well, not for me, but the other 3 I played with were terrible. It was just me. They were just keeping me company around the course.
Oh, I know. There's nothing worse. Well, you were playing with 3 hackers. Today, I was playing with Royal Portrush, where the Open is going to be 2025. Yep. All looking forward to that in July. The stands are going up. It's unbelievable. Like, the first hole, the stands are up behind the first hole. It's cracking. I was playing with Garth McGimsey, who's 68 years of age and plays off +2. And I was playing with Mark McMurray, who's middle to late 50s. He plays off +2. My other friend, Stephen Watson, he plays off the same as me, 11. So it's always me and Mark against Garth and Stephen. And it was a great match. 14 points on the front 9, 24 on the back 9. 1 under gross on the back 9 for Royal Portrush. So absolutely delighted with that, Shanks.
Saw some photos that you'd sent, Stevie, because the Open's obviously there, like you said. It looked amazing. Like, grandstands just make the course, don't they? All of a sudden, you probably start to think, ooh, something big's coming here now.
Mate, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Shanks, there was I think it was 260,000 tickets were sold, and then they just put out another 18,000 over the last week, and it's going to be the highest ticket selling Open, apart from St Andrews, that there's ever been. So yeah, close to 300,000 people coming in July for the week. It's going to be awesome.
It's on during the Lions tour, isn't it?
Is it the 17th of July, around that week, is it? I think so. So maybe first test, Shanks.
Yeah.
Maybe first test. So it'll be brilliant. Sport will be fine. And looking forward to seeing how it progresses over the next few weeks. But long may I keep golfing. My back is held up just about, and then was straight to the beach with the kids. So that was good crack.
Is that why you're sat in a lazy boy? I said lazy boy.
Mate, right now. I'm just sat beside my bar. Look at that.
Drink at home.
Rory McIlroy flag. Up there. I've shown that before, haven't I? But yeah, no, it was a good day. The sun was shining, and yeah, back obviously to do the pod because I've got responsibilities.
Yeah, you do. And talking about responsibilities, Premier Sport have got 4 more years of responsibility to produce and show the URC. This is the big news that has come out this week. And to enjoy this massive signing and this massive 4 years, we've got a lovely little promo video for you to listen to and watch. It's coming up now.
At Premier Sports, we're all about keeping our promises. And unlike our rivals, we always deliver.
Sorry, what promises?
I promise more world-class insight.
I promise to finally tell it like it is.
And I promise more unbiased analysis.
And what is it about this league that makes it the best in the world?
Well, anybody can win it.
Stormers, Munster, Glasgow Warriors are the URC champions.
The best rivalries.
The desire to win is only surpassed by the need for victory.
The best players.
Oh, goodness me, Simon Zebre.
Simon, that was just clips of you.
And can you comment or tell us anything about the rumours about your hair?
No more questions.
The URC on Premier Sports.
4 more years.
Okay, cut the camera.
4 more years, baby. I got stitched up massively.
Mate, you get stitched up big time.
Mate, I thought John Barclay was the runt of the litter. It's become me. I got to wear a wig. I got to wear a black wig, and I don't even have black hair. I'm a blonde.
I thought you should have wore. I thought you should have wore the other one, Shanks. There was another wig there.
The Donald Trump wig.
Yeah.
No. Too much controversy. But mate, what? I mean, you've got a hat on, which make Ulster great again.
Yeah,
I like that. Zebo's doing a funny dance and he's showing his tries. John's at the start. Stitched massively.
Yeah, but you're good for it, Shanks. You're an easy target. That's what's wrong.
Yeah. Well, I used to be. I didn't think I was anymore, but obviously I am.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's great news. It is great news that Premier Sport have got the URC rights for 4 more years. It's getting to the business end now of the season, so it's getting super exciting. I always think when you look at the league, it's always the start and the end, I think, which you get most excited about, because in between that you've got Europe, you've got 6 nations, but it's always the start and it's always the end, which I think makes it so great. And I tell you what, producer Ben has done for us, Stevie, is right now, I think it was last year, they were doing the AI images of everybody.
Yeah.
And it was like school photos. Well, right now it's action figures. And we've got a couple of action figures to to look at. So we're having a look at John Barclay's right now, and we can't see it all, but he's got a sauna. It's not formatted right. He's got a sauna. He's got the
Calcutta Cup.
Calcutta Cup. I don't know what else he's got.
He's got
a
noble.
Can you tell us what it is below, because we can't see it?
A noble jacket on, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, he loves that jacket. That was John Barclay's. Let's see who's next. You look like Shulk Burger. Steve, it doesn't look like you, mate. It doesn't look like you've got a ticket to Turkey, some dumbbells, a nice t-shirt, mind.
Oh,
that's one of those dad bod t-shirts that you wear.
Ben, you've stitched me right up, you bollocks.
Go on then.
Stitched me
Let's
up.
have it. Let's have the last one.
Come on. What a shit shirt.
It's terror shirt. It's a terrible shirt. Who was the Russian spy that got poisoned? Is it Livenchenko? Yes. Got the wooden spoon, sausages, and some gloves.
Mate, you look like the swimmer. What do you call the swimmer?
Duncan Goodhue.
Yeah. You look like him.
Mate, but I could be anyone bald, basically, mate.
Oh,
honestly,
so good.
Could be anyone. Yeah, well done. I really hope they don't make it online. If they do, can I have a better shirt, please?
Yeah, Ben. Give me a bit more hair. Come on. Give me a bit more than that.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think so. I think that's probably quite a good fit for you. I'd say you look quite muscly in that, though.
Yeah, mate, I'm big. I'm big. But here, Shanks, just on the news breaking. So the lads that I was playing golf with today, and we're sitting chatting on the 18th tee box just about the broadcasting deal and what it entails and everything else. But like for like 120 quid, like I know this sounds like I'm sort of giving a bit of quick sell here. I'm absolutely not. It's ridiculous. You've got all the URC, all the Champions Cup, all top 14 games, top league in Japan, the MLR in USA. You go onto the app, like if you're traveling, there's just rugby everywhere, and it's awesome.
Is it 120 a month, Stevie?
No, a year.
A year. Oh my days! What a deal! You've got to subscribe. £120 a year for all of that.
It might be. They were running an offer for like 100 quid a couple of months ago. So
that is a deal. That's a deal to be had. Make sure you subscribe, download the app, do what you want, watch rugby when you want, watch sport when you want. It's amazing. Yeah, we use the app all the time as part of our analysis, just going through games. You've got options of watching
for the highlights.
You've got 3 minutes, 10 minutes. You've got full game. It's incredible. So please, listeners, viewers, subscribe, download the app, and get aboard the Premier Sport train.
Absolutely. Here.
Rugby review. It says round 13 here, which I think could be a mistake because are we round 13? We're round 15, 16.
We are round
15 review. Round 15 review. We got there again. We'll start with Friday night's game, Edinburgh versus the Sharks. We saw the Sharks team before it was announced, and I was sure they were going to romp home, Stevie. But wasn't to be the case, was it?
No, it wasn't. It sure wasn't. First of all, I thought it was... Again, the Sharks are so frustrating to watch. You're just waiting for them to turn it on with their big name players, these World Cup winners, but it just doesn't. The jersey just doesn't seem to carry. Well, it obviously doesn't carry the same weight as a South African jersey. James Lang scored the first try, got the crowd.
What a try! What a finish, mate.
Yeah, Jamie Ritchie, who was brilliant on the night, awesome over the ball. He got the second try. Jordan Hendricks, he missed a couple of penalties later on in the game, Shanks, but kept the scoreboard ticking for the Sharks early on. Fassi, he got himself in the score sheet. He also injured himself towards the end of the game. So Ulster fans, you never like to see anybody injured, but it looks like he might be a big doubt for this weekend coming against Ulster on the Saturday night. And then just the yellow cards. The yellow cards for the Sharks. Mate, this is a common theme with the South African teams is they just give up yellow card after yellow card, and more specifically, the Sharks. Like the Sharks, the whole way through the Champions Cup, down to 13 men against Exeter. We could have been down to 12 men in that game. It's just not good enough. And if they're going to go deeper into this competition, they have to sort that out. Thought Ian Ashman was good. Ross Thompson was half decent. Dave Cherry was unbelievable when he came on and obviously had to go off again with an injury towards the end. But just lastly, with a penalty advantage, Masuku, who come on and made a bit of an impact, Shanks, you'd have to say, threw a lovely pass over the top, and Makazole Mapimpi get in the corner, and of course it was
didn't like being tackled, did he, over the corner?
No.
Took offence to that. I mean, fair game. He was fair game.
He was.
Flying in like that. But you just think, I was watching that game, and towards the end, I just thought, I didn't think Edinburgh were going to lose. I thought the Sharks, every time they went for a power play or a kick, they were missing, and it just seemed all the momentum was with Edinburgh. And it was only until a knock-on, a really easy knock-on they gave away, which led to a scrum, which led to a penalty, which led to the Sharks being able to get it 5 meters out. And then from that, I thought Edinburgh defended the line up more really well. But then eventually space opened up and Mapimpi went over the top. But I mean, the Sharks didn't really get going, did they, till after half time when Am picked and went and releases Fassi for the try. But apart from that, they didn't really look that threatening. But I mean, when it matters in that 79th minute, they did enough. So big win for the Sharks, that is.
Who was the young guy, Shanks, that got held up over the line? And it was a ridiculous tackle. I think it was Mapimpi as well who held him up. Was it Harry Patterson, was it maybe, that got held up? But it was off the crossfield kick, and he cut back inside. It's maybe 3 or 4 minutes on the clock, and that would have been game, set, and match. And he got held up, and like the Sharks rode their luck. Like they were defending their line for huge parts. But once they got a sniff, fair play to them, they were clinical. You could see what it meant to John Plumtree to go away from home. And now, Shanks, the worrying thing is that will they go full strength again this weekend? Very rarely have we seen this Sharks team on the road carry that many international players. And
I'm not sure they need, Stevie, because I think they need to go full strength for the last 2 games, which they've got, the Ospreys and the Scarlets, because I think they'll finish 4th.
Yeah.
With 2 wins from the next 3. So depends what they want to do, really. But 4th, I don't think they'll be able to catch the Bulls, but I certainly think they'll finish 4th comfortably.
Yeah, they finish 4th comfortably, but I'm just talking more about this game at the weekend, because they're not going to fly over 30 players or 35 players to the British and Irish Isles for their games. So the players that were on show there for the Sharks against Edinburgh, it might be the opposite way around, where you have Masuku starting. You have, by the way, James Venter. Whoa. He is an absolute specimen, ridiculously powerful, made such an impact, huge tackles. They might start with Jenkins, Venter, Grant Williams, Masuku, Makunu, and a few others that might come in that weren't in the 23. And then they could have Etzebeth, Mbanambi, Hendricks, Vincent Koch, Buthelezi, all these guys on the bench. So they've got the luxury to do that. It's a ridiculous team. You just think they should be further up the table and playing a better brand of rugby, but they're looking like a home quarter-final, Shanks, which is an improvement on last season.
Yeah, it is. Stormers 34, Connacht 29. What do you make of that?
Oh, well, the guy that we're watching now, Ngoma Zulu, is
Sasha
Feinberg. Ngoma Zulu is off the charts good. He is so good. I think it was Jennings for Connacht. He got a brace. Kept his width really well the whole way throughout the game. But yeah, Connacht's defence on the inside, Shanks, they leak a lot of points. They've leaked a lot of points the whole season. They come up hard at times. They go soft at times. And when they come up hard, it's always in the inside. And little pop passes, little tip-ons inside and out. They seem to be getting caught out all the time. But Sasha Feinberg and Ngoma Zulu was just the difference. He really was. And I think if he hadn't been playing, Connacht would have won this game. Connacht gave it a really good rattle. Scored some nice tries. And I know you're probably going to touch on it. I thought it shouldn't have came back for the obstruction in the middle of the field for Connacht to go over for their last try. And I think they were maybe slightly robbed. I think it was Evan Ruas that was blocked in the midfield. Did you see that? Yeah? No. So it was 34-29 and Connacht 79 minutes on the clock. And
I remember seeing it. Yeah.
Runs a short line. Evan Ruas is still able to get there and make a tackle. That was 3 or maybe longer, 3 or 4 phases before Connacht actually scored.
If you run those dummy lines, and you force a defending player to adjust their line to come and tackle you, that's fine. If you block their lines so they can't then, if you're a dummy runner, move out and make a tackle, then that is a penalty. But from watching it just then, you can see that he moves in. He follows the decoy runner in.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I thought it was really, really harsh. And it was a good game of rugby, back and forth the whole time. The back rower, can't remember his name, he scored a brace as well. Connacht give it a real shot, obviously get 2 points out of the game. So
that's massive. That's massive for them, Stevie, because if you look at who they've got, they're sitting at 12th at the moment on 35 points. Now they've got Lions away this weekend, which could be tough. I mean, the Lions aren't really finishing the season that well, and they're looking a little bit shaky, but it's still the Lions and it's still away and it's still at altitude. But you think after that, they've got Connacht home and Zebre away. Now they can pick up 2 wins there, maybe bonus point wins. And I think that might be enough to scrape them into 8th. Maybe. They've got a really good chance. Yeah,
you took the words out of my mouth there. I honestly think they've got a real chance. I don't believe that the Lions have enough to make the top 8. And I know you said there a few months back that they were a bit of your dark horses, but they just haven't found another gear this year. I know they've been missing a couple of players, but they just haven't found their stride. And they're really loose, and Connacht will like that. So, like, if Connacht play like they did against the Stormers, it wouldn't surprise me if they turned them over.
We're going to get onto the Lions in a bit. But, yeah, I gave them a good shout because they had 4 home games. And I think previous years, teams have always struggled to go to South Africa and come away from a win. And you just sort of assume maybe a South African team is going to win at altitude. But not so much the case anymore, as Benetton showed. But before we get to that, Munster 13, Bulls 16. We'll have a look and we'll talk you through some of the best tries. Well, Stevie will. And then we'll get on to the incident which happened.
Yeah.
Which was a high talking point.
Which, unfortunately, Shanks has just been the talking point that's come out of the game. And I actually thought before a whistle was even blown that Munster were there for the taking. Like, emotionally, they would have been so high, so up for it last week against Bordeaux. They obviously didn't go their way. Their line-out was terrible, and they just weren't at it. And Marcel Coetzee scored a half-decent try. Johan Goosen scored a few points for them as well. Takir Abrahams got Munster back into it. Jack Crowley seems to be, pretty consistent in the last few performances that he's had. So we'll take that. And, a game with mistakes and errors. And when I was watching it, it was like, it just felt like it didn't catch a light at all. The whole game, both teams were struggling to find their stride. And you would expect that a little bit, just because of what I mentioned about Munster off the back of that defeat in Europe. And then the Bulls obviously travelling over and maybe getting the jet lag and everything out of their system. But I still expected a better quality of game, and it just wasn't. But on to the big talking point, Shanks.
Yeah, so 2 hookers went down, didn't they? 2 hookers from Munster were injured. One was injured and one went off with an HIA.
Yeah.
And referee Piardi said that because 2 players can't take the field, 2 hookers can't take the field, the scrum then has to be uncontested, and therefore you lose a player, which isn't the case, is it? You lose a player if you can't field the front row and they're both injured. But if it's HIA, you don't get penalised for that. And it took 10 minutes, didn't it, Stevie, for, I think, maybe Munster to realise what had gone on rather than the referees.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I know the URC have held their hands up and said, look, the referee has made a mistake. This shouldn't have happened. And that's quite rightly so. But there were enough people standing around on the Munster bench, and, ARs were there. And
TMOs.
No information was fed down to Piardi, the ref. So, like, everybody makes mistakes, but that's a pretty shit mistake to make. being down to 14 men for 14 minutes. And it just felt like a real kick in the stones for Munster. And, you need a few things to go your way. Even the tap penalty which led to the try, was tapped off the knee. Wasn't taken correctly. You heard Jack Crowley talking to the referee about it, and he just sort of dismissed him. And he does have that sort of way about him, Piardi. And I thought in his previous couple of games that he's been excellent, and really thorough in everything that he does. Actually, a good way with some of the players, but just in this game, he seemed to lose control of that a small bit, which unfortunately for Munster's sake has ultimately led to a 16-13 loss at home, which isn't good. It's not good, especially for their fans who are paying good money to come and watch their team, and the referee, that's all we're talking about after the game is the mistake that he's made.
It is. It does come down to the referee. It does come down to the officials that are there. But it also shows you how important it is to actually know all the rules, whether you're a player, a team manager, coaching staff, the lot. Because no one cottoned on for 10 minutes. If
Shanks,
you knew that straight away, you'd be on the pitch straight away. You'd be stopping the game. No.
Yeah, I didn't at all. I didn't cotton on at all. And and genuinely, I don't think the Munster coaching staff or management at the side of the pitch, they cottoned on until maybe 10, 11 minutes. Yeah.
Till someone read it on X.
Yeah. I know. What's going on?
And then all of a sudden brought it back on. But an instant. Hopefully we won't see one of them again for a long time. Leinster 41, Ulster 17. Sort of guessed this was happening.
Yeah, he did.
Tommy O'Brien, talk to me. He reminds me of Luke Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he's in scintillating form, and things are going his way. Even the bounce of the ball for the chip over the top to beat Nathan Doak, the regather, and then he finds himself in enough space and he hacks it across. It's not a particularly
horrible kick,
but Dan Sheehan, who come off the bench, scored a hat trick in 19 minutes. You'd have got good odds for that. But as soon as Leinster emptied the bench, Ulster struggled. But up until that point, Shanks, I thought Ulster were half decent. They were physical enough in the tight exchanges. McNabney was half decent with ball in hand. Mikey Larry, unfortunately, went off with a really bad injury. By all accounts, scans and everything are okay, but he's going to be out for a few weeks. Callum Reid's going to be out for a significant period of time, I believe, with a knee injury. Stuart McCluskey's got a groin injury. He didn't start the game. He cried off in the warm-up. You had an HIA to Stuart Moore. Cormac Ezechukwu come off, but he seems to be okay for this weekend, which is good news for Ulster fans. And there was one more in there. Andy Warwick come off as well. So, you've a lot of injuries there, Shanks. And when they just have to front up at home to the Sharks this weekend, it's going to be tough. But yeah, they rolled their sleeves up. They had a kicking game plan, kicked the leather off it for 40 or 50 minutes. And then when Leinster emptied the bench, they were just had too much in the tank. Again, Sam Prendergast had so much time on the ball, the crossfield kick and throw nice passes, and just a typical Rolls-Royce player. So one thing that really did annoy me in the game was how dead the atmosphere was. It was so crap. Maybe 15,000 there in the Aviva Stadium. For those big stadiums, you need them to be full. And I suppose Leinster fans are maybe getting a little pissed off of having to, change venues, go to Croke Park one week, Aviva the next week. Some of those games aren't included in their season tickets either, so it could be quite difficult. But yeah, hopefully as it goes on, we'll get a few more bums on seats for those big fixtures.
It was a huge run-in for Ulster because they've got the Sharks at home this weekend, then they've got Munster away and Edinburgh away, and you just think if they stand any chance of getting to that top 8, they need 2 from 3. I don't think one from those 3 games is going to cut it. So a big few weeks for Ulster coming up. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a breath now, Steve. You catch.
Thanks, mate. About time.
Catch your breath back. The Lions 31, Benetton 42. Game of the weekend for me. Biggest shock. I mean, Benetton's season has been up and down, I think. But, I mean, they've given their playoff chances a massive boost by this. And it started off with just the Lions not being able to take an up and under. And Umanga collects it and goes through pretty well. unopposed. They start to play with a lot more width, and Mendy goes in after a lot of pressure on the Lions line. But one of the tries of the game was offset piece, line out just around the 40-meter mark. A dog who goes through looks like such a handful to tackle because he's so low center of gravity, so powerful. And at one stage, it was 32-10 to Benetton. The Lions try and play out their own half. The ball's turned over. And I think it's Mendy again, just opens up.
Serious
see him in a lot of space. He is fast. He is super fast. So I thought Benetton were all excellent. There was a lot of high pace, high tempo running. I looked at the players after the game, and none of them could celebrate the Benetton boys because they were knackered. They had hands on their knees. I think they were just taken in, actually, how tough that game was. But what a result for them. It was 32-17 halftime because the Lions end up scoring. It was a horrific bounce of a ball in the dead ball area. You've got 3 Benetton players coming back. It bounces over all 3, and they come back Lions in the second half, but not enough. And Benetton win by 11 points. So that is huge for their playoff chances. They've still, got Stormers away, Glasgow home, and Munster away.
Shanks, I think they can do the Stormers.
That is,
I think they can.
Yeah.
If they got 2 points out of the game against Stormers, I think they're going to be safe.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that was such a big win. I'm not sure you'll be able to back that up again.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do, that is legendary. 2 wins in South Africa. That is massive for them.
Could they win the URC?
No. They won't be able to touch Leinster, Glasgow, or the Bulls, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that's just another level ahead. We had Judgment Day, Stevie, at the weekend, and you talk about the Aviva being a little bit disappointed for Leinster Ulster. I think it first started off in 2019. It must have been around 67,000 turned up for the first Judgment Day. This year we had 27,000 in the Principality Stadium. It was such a poor showing. You had 2 pretty decent games there, but just the support and maybe the want for watching rugby just doesn't seem to be there at the moment. Maybe that's a byproduct of what's going on in Welsh rugby. But I mean, the Dragons, again, were doing okay till the last sort of quarter. They started off pretty well, scored a couple of nice tries, just played the ball down the right-hand side. Ashton Hewitt went in. It ended up being pretty simple. They got done a couple of times, the Dragons, by little kicks over from the scrum half. Sort of centre field. You'll see a little Gareth Davis just ends up doing a little chip over the top. And because the 15, Ewan Rosser, was defending so deep, they just ended up getting quite a lot of reward for it. There was a tap penalty, which the Scarlets took really quickly. Tom Rogers had a super offload, and then it's just Fafita. I don't know if it's a hurdle or a jump, just lifts his leg up slightly as Ashton Hewitt wants to go for him and ends up scoring a nice try. He's such an athlete. But what was it, 10 minutes to go? Dragons leading by 2 points. Little chip over the top by Gareth Davis. Blair Murray gets onto it. A mistake by Ewan Rosser at 15. And the Scarlets win. And that moves the Scarlets up to 9th, 38 points. But see, this is why it's so important to go to South Africa early on in the season, because the Scarlets now have got Leinster home, followed by Lions away and Sharks away. Again, I think they need 2 from that if they're going to get through to the playoffs. So tough running for them, but a decent result from them. They had a good team out as well, and I think they're just a little bit too much up front as well for the Dragons. So that was the first game, followed by Ospreys Cardiff. Now, start of the game, I thought the Ospreys would be too tough. I thought they'd be too tough up front.
So did I.
Didn't think Cardiff would be able to match them physically, but Cardiff were really good at the weekend. They had an intent to go wide straight away. They looked good off set piece. They scored a couple of nice tries. They score early, Stevie. So if it's not first phase, it's sort of 3 or 4 phases. They'll score. Hamer Webb got a hat-trick. Ospreys did come back into the game, but just when they got back into the game, Cardiff took a kick off. Teddy Williams offloaded. It was kicked through by Thomas Young. Hamer Webb gets on the end, secures the game. But I thought Cardiff were good. I thought defensively they were good. They held out the Ospreys really well. The Ospreys had, I think, 16 red zone visits and needed to come away with way more points. They didn't. There was a lot of knock-ons. There was a lot of missed line-outs when they were inside Cardiff's 22. And Cardiff's, I think, success rate in the Ospreys 22 was around 46%, which is really good, which is exactly where you want it to be. They took their chances. They played with width. They played with a lot of tempo. I thought, just quietly going about his business, Ben Thomas was really good as a facilitator. Just at 12. I really like 12s who's one of their first options is to pass, to get the ball away, because you get a lot of selfish 12s, and that can sometimes hamper your game plan a little bit because they take it on too much. But when you've got a player with a bit of vision, who wants to play the ball a little bit wider, it's such an asset to have. A bit like Gav Henson, I always think. Like his first option was to try and pass to where the space was, rather than try and carry it himself. Ben Thomas was playing like that on the weekend, and a massive win for Cardiff. Takes Cardiff up to 6th.
Yeah, Cardiff were good. I watched that game, Shanks, and I'm a bit baffled of why the Ospreys play so far behind the gain line in attack. Like they play so deep. I think the style of rugby that they play can be very effective, and you could say it's similar to the way Ireland play, the way Leinster play when they're on form. But the difference is Leinster and Ireland and the All Blacks or whatever, they're playing that style on the gain line, and they're putting guys through holes, and they're getting on outside shoulder. As you rightly say, Cardiff were just lapping it up. They were getting off the line and constantly putting pressure on them. And it was a phase of play that went on 10 phases, and the Ospreys had maybe went back 25, 30 meters. And then they would get a half shoulder, get an offload away or something. Kieran Williams was very good in the centre. He's always lively, isn't he? He's very lively.
He tidies up a lot of ball because they look a little bit lost. I think a little bit in phase play, and then he carries it forward. What I will say, the Ospreys I think they've certainly expanded their game plan since Mark Jones has taken over, and they look really good. But I think the last 2 weeks, maybe some slight cracks have started to come in. Like if they don't get over the gain line, if they don't score when they're in red zone after 4 or 5 phases, they do look a little bit lost. That was evident against Lyon in the quarterfinal of the Challenge Cup, because they had a lot of possession but couldn't do enough with it. And I think maybe they just need to revisit maybe a little bit of red zone efficiency of how they break teams down. Just because at the moment all they're trying to do is pick and go. And if that doesn't work, they've got no width in the back line. So it just seems to be one option at the moment with the Ospreys when they get close to the line. But how many times do we see it? Most weeks you see it. You pick or go, maybe 6-7 phases, and when that's not on, you've got width then to go by. And because you have to defend so tight around that ruck area on your own line, there is space elsewhere. I think maybe that's something they need to look on. But really good win for Cardiff. Defensively good. Tempo, width was really good. Skill sets were good. And last game, Zebre 6, Glasgow 14. Now, I mean, not the highest quality of games. 6-0 half-time to Zebre. Nothing else really much happened. Josh Mackay strikes first out wide, which brings Glasgow back into it. And then McDowell scores after a Talakai break right down the middle. That was really good. Big unit as well, Talakai. But they got right on the front foot. And then McDowell, who's a huge unit, just hits a short line under the post. But I think Glasgow will be pretty happy with that. keeps them in second place. Make sure they can get home draws all the way through to the final, which I think they will. And we've seen it this year. Like Zebre have, managed to. Quite a few teams have gone to Zebre and become unstuck or at home. Bit of a different beast they are this year. Zebre.
I think Shanks as well. Like Glasgow, they come under a lot of criticism in their last game against Leinster, and I think they were missing 8 of their starting. Like if they were picking their best starting 15, they're missing 8 of those guys, and like that's half your team, nearly half your team. Like hopefully they can get some of those guys back and they're at full strength towards the end of the season. Because if they are at full strength, as we've seen last year when they won the URC, they went away to Munster and away again to the Bulls to win it. Like they can beat anybody on their day. So I hope that Franco Smith has his full pack to pick from, and towards the end of the business end of the season, because I think that's when we can fairly judge them. I don't think over the last 2 weekends they've obviously haven't been at their best, but that's not the true Glasgow that you and I and a lot of people have been watching over the last couple of seasons.
No, not at all. The 52-0 drumming by Leinster was a bit of a wake-up call for them. They just don't have the strength and depth that a team like Leinster do, because when you're missing Hugh Jones, your Sione Topolotus, your Dempseys, they don't quite have the punch, do they?
No.
About those boys.
Ferguson as well. Massive.
Big carriers for them. So that was it. That was round 15. Play of the round. Normally we discuss this before we come on, but we haven't. I think it's got to be someone from Benetton.
Oh, I was going to say Mngomezulu, to be honest, just because he was off so good. Like
off the charts.
I always keep saying off the charts, don't I? He is is he the next 10 for South Africa, Shanks?
Yeah, he's got to be. I mean, who else would you pick?
Well, is he a little bit too loose?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, neither.
But he can be loose, but I don't think he's loose like a Manny Lebok loose. I don't think he has such. I mean, Manny Lebok is awesome, but there are some errors there that creep into the game. That's just a fact. I'm not sure you get that with Sasha Feinberg and Mngomezulu. He just looks quality.
Any rumours going around that Manny Lebok might be signing for another team next year?
No, Ulster.
Maybe Ulster.
Happy or not?
Man, I have no idea. I'm just throwing it out there. Hopefully, Manny Lebok's agent's listening. And again, but it is a talking point there because he's obviously not involved in that. Is one out of the pecking order for some reason.
I'm not sure. I'd be honest, right? I'm not sure how he would go in an Ulster team or I don't know, a Dragons team, for instance. I think he needs a massive pack, massive pack, and then you get the best of it. I'm not sure.
Toulouse, maybe he might do all right in Toulouse.
Yeah. I agree. Rants of the week, Stevie. You got any? I mean, apart from John Barclay.
Any rants of the week? No, I don't. Shanks, for once. I don't know. We have this.
Not even like half term. Not even half term with the kids. Having to do too much with your family.
Well, here every week, every Easter Sunday in Portrush, there's a car cruise, and the cars come from Scotland, England, the south of Ireland, and they all come. And my house here in Portrush is on the main road, and they sit outside, and they are queued for 2 miles to get into the city centre or into the town centre, because you do like one lap and then come out. Yeah. And for the whole Sunday, all I could hear was like boys hanging out, blue jeans, brown shoes, check shirt, gilet, like feet out the window. Boys had the microphones, they were shouting at people across the street and all. Like, it was so loose. That's my rant. Just all the cruisers in their 1.5 litre twin turbo diesel.
Renault 5 turbos.
Yeah, on the red diesel.
Yeah. Oh.
So there you go. That's my
voice hanging around in McDonald's car parks. No, just John Barclay just basically lying to our faces. Just hate it, mate. Hate dishonest people. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Can move on then. Right, let's have a look at what we're going to have a look at now. We're going to have a look at what we've decided for the top 8. So I've gone with Leinster, Glasgow Bulls, Sharks, Munster, Stormers, Edinburgh, Benetton. I've gone for Connacht. Otherwise, we're the same.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure Benetton will win another game. That was my only issue.
Hold on a second. Connacht are on 35, Shanks.
Yep.
Benetton are 6 points ahead of them.
I don't think they'll win another game, Stevie.
So you think
they've got Stormers away, Glasgow home, and Munster away.
So you think Connacht are gonna get something out of the game against the Lions?
I think Connacht will but I think they'll win. I think they'll beat Edinburgh at home and Zebre away.
Okay. So they get maybe 8 or 9 points out of those 2 games.
Correct. Now you're with me. Well done. I also think the big game, last game of the season between Edinburgh and Ulster will be huge.
Yeah, huge. Top 8. Yeah, that's that for me. I think Ulster, even with a depleted team this weekend, can beat the Sharks. They can. Saturday night lights in Belfast, it'll be really good. Hopefully the weather holds up and we don't get a bit of a slugfest. But like Edinburgh, just looking here, Shanks, Edinburgh, they've won. Edinburgh 1, 2, 3. We've won 3 of the last 4 against Connacht. Connacht, that's going to be a decisive game as well. It really is. So fair play going for an Irish team, Shanks. Hopefully they can do it. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think a Welsh team will get in there. I think the final run-in is too tough for them. Well, let's have a look at preview this weekend's game. So Glasgow Bulls, Friday night. Who are you going with? Glasgow?
I'm going to go with Glasgow. Yeah, I think the Bulls will be happy, Shanks, after their 4-point win down in Munster.
Okay, Cardiff, Munster.
I'm going to go Munster. They need a bounce back.
Yeah, I think Munster, as well as Cardiff played last week, I think maybe just the pack might be a bit stronger. And also now, because we get into the end of the season, teams take it a lot more seriously and don't tend to rest as much players or as many players. Zebre, Edinburgh, that's been moved from Saturday due to Pope Francis's funeral.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Zebre to get a win.
Ooh, I'm going to go with Edinburgh. Then Lions, Connacht.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Lions, but I think Connacht might get a point or 2. Hopefully, yeah.
I think that would be a good result for Connacht as well. Ospreys, Dragons. I'm going to go. The Ospreys. I'm covering that one at 3:00 from the Swansea.com. Stormers versus Benetton. I'm going to go Stormers. I'm not sure Benetton will be able to back up another
I'm going to go Benetton.
Result. You're going to
go on Benetton.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'd love Benetton to do it. I really would, but I'm not sure they could do it again. Scarlets, Leinster. I'm going to go Scarlets.
Do you know what? I think
I would love it. I would love it if they won, but Leinster's squad is just too big. It's not a level playing field, mate. When you look at budgets, what we have to deal with in Wales to what other teams have to deal with, and they've just signed Rico Ioane.
Yeah,
what?
Mate, you sounded like Kevin Keegan there. I'd love it. I'd love it. I'd love it if we beat him.
I remember that. He's on about Man U, wasn't he? Was it Man U?
Yeah, it was Man U, and then they lost 2-1, I think.
Yeah. No, Oh, it'd be amazing if they did, but Leinster too tough, I think.
Yeah, I think Leinster.
Last one, Ulster Sharks. I'm going to go Sharks.
Yeah, it's just with all the injuries, like the prop situation at Ulster Shanks is it's starting to become a huge concern. It's already been a concern for the last couple of seasons. Kitsoff retiring as well, even though he didn't have a huge impact when he was there, but it just, and if the Sharks have a big pack, they could really outmuscle Ulster. I'm going to go a draw. Ulster haven't drawn a game all year, I don't think. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a couple of point game either way. Hopefully Ulster can do it.
Crazy, man. You're crazy. I like
crazy man.
You're crazy. Right, that will do us, I think, Stevie. We've done 50 minutes there just on our own without the third cog in this highly oiled machine. I hope you've all enjoyed it. We will speak to you next week. Enjoy the weekend's rugby, and just remember to subscribe, watch, and enjoy Premier Sports for 4 more years in the URC. Thank you.